Hi students, today we're going to learn how to use discounted cash flow in Excel. You're going to dig it, I promise. It's going to be really fun and quick and sweet to the point. In this video we will look at discounted cash flow. The example is that a company is thinking about investing in a 10-year project. The project will cost $500,000 in the first year. The firm believes it can make about $100,000 per year for the remaining 9 years. The cost of capital for the firm is 8%. Now the question is this a good idea? In order to find that out, we need to know what the net present value of all the cash flows are, what is the internal rate of return, what is the return on capital. So when you have a problem like this, you want to start structuring it in a nice little way. So I typically go in and write down either on a notepad or in Excel the key information. So in this case, we're going to assume that the present value is $500,000. The future value is going to be 0 because nothing is mentioned. So we can just assume that you're going to depreciate this whole thing over 10 years. The number of time periods is going to be 10 years. The interest rate is 8%. The payments will be the 100,000. Now, what is it we're going to calculate again? Well, we have the net present value, the internal rate of return, and the return on capital. So when you want to calculate that, you want to keep it simple and structured so you write it out nicely on your Excel spreadsheet. But then when you want to put up the cash flows, make a timeline where you have the year, 1, 2, until 10. You want to add in the interest, the cash flow that we're expecting to use in each time period, and then we want to discount that down to a present value. So an easy way of doing this is just doing the equal sign and grab the number 8%, and that will allow us to use this page right here to simulate in case any of the numbers will change. Since we're going to use the same number and we want to copy it, we're going to lock the cell and drag it sideways. And when we drag it sideways, we're going to hover the mouse over the bottom right corner until we hit receive a plus sign, and then pull it sideways. Now the cash flow is going to be the initial outflow of $500,000. And then it's going to be the other $100,000 for year 2. Now, same thing here. We would like to copy this sideways. So we lock the cell by adding the dollar signs up here, and then we copy it sideways. Now, the present value is discounting this at 8%. So we're going to click in H4 in this case and enter an equal sign, and we're going to do the $500,000 divided by parenthesis 1 plus the interest rate, our internal rate of cost of capital right here, and end that with a parenthesis. Now what we want to do is to have that to the power of whatever year we have up here. So the way we do that is we hit the shift and the number 6 on your keyboard, and you get top hat. And that's a power of symbol for Excel. Then you'll click in the year, which is 1, and so it's to the power of 1. So it's 1 discounted period. Now, same thing here. We can just copy that sideways, and we get everything all calculated out. Then we go to the net present value and see if we actually make any money here. So we're going to have the equal sign and use, oops, I spelled it wrong. There, my fingers were not correct on the keyboard. The summation tool here. And then we're going to just sum this all up and hit enter. And then we realize that, wow, we're actually making $115,000 on this project. Now, the internal rate of return, would be setting net present value equal to 0. Okay, but we're going to calculate it. So we could try to figure things out by saying, okay, let's see what happens at 10%. Oh, it's too high still. About 13%. It's still above 0. So 11,000 right here is above 0. So let's see what happens if we put in 14%. Okay, so we can guess that the internal rate of return is going to be between 13 and 14%. Now I'm going to change this back to 8%. So there's a function for that. So we're going to add a function. So start with equal sign, go up to formulas, insert function. Now it's already here, but I'm going to assume it wasn't. So I'm going to click here for the most for the different categories. I'm going to click financial. I'm going to scroll down until I find internal rate of return. Click OK, and then we get this nice little function table that is asking for these numbers. So we're going to grab the numbers, and then it's going to ask us to guess. So let's say 13.5, because it's somewhere between 13 and 14%. It's going to guess and figure it out. So it actually did it for us. It's 13.7%. So let's enter that, 13.7%. And that's fairly close, right? So if we enter the full amount here, 13,045, it should be 0. Whoops, maybe that was a little wrong. 13.7045 there. And yeah, it's pretty much 0. So we can change that back to 8%. Now we know that the internal rate of return is 13.7%. Now, what is the return on capital? Well, we invested $500,000 and then we made $115,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep it simple and use the 115,000 divided by 500,000. Now that's going to give us a negative rate of return, which will say, hey, we should not take this project on, but we have to actually make the 500,000 a positive number, and we'll keep so you take it times -1, and 2 negatives becomes a positive number, and then we're all happy. So the question is this a good project to take on? The general rule is that you take on all projects that yield a positive net income or a net present value. But the question is, if you have several projects, you start with the one you make the most money in, and then you take on the next one and the next after that until you run out of cash or can't borrow any more money or whatever it might be. So it all depends if this is a good project. If this is the best project the company has, then the answer is yes. Okay, students, I hope that you really enjoyed doing discounted cash flow. It's a very useful tool that you will probably use many times, not only in school, but also at work. So see you soon at this same channel. Don't forget to like the video and follow this channel. Thank you very much. See you soon.